yourself in their shoes.
Airport workers
They're out here working and letting us continue our travel experiences,
left stranded by the government shutdown
and they're not getting paid for it.
are getting support from the very travelers they're protecting.
We've easily seen over 10,000 in food and donations here at this point.
History seems to be repeating itself. The current Seattle mayor is falling further behind in the race to keep his seat.
Seattle's very expensive.
Whoever becomes mayor will face many challenges. One of them, affordability. It's eating away at customers and business owners.
It doesn't seem to be a light at the end of the tunnel for anybody.
He got killed, and he's our family's great tragedy.
And from tragedy to closure.
And we can close the book at the end of the story. So closing the book is closure.
Well, right now the northern lights are visible over western Washington. These are some of the photos that you've sent us tonight. Perella Lewis is tracking the aurora. She'll have an update on how long you'll be able to see it coming up at 11:20. Right now, all eyes are on the U.S. House. The House Rules Committee is meeting to discuss the Senate bill to reopen the federal government. 8 Senate Democrats broke from the majority of the party yesterday and voted with Republicans to end the shutdown. The agreement doesn't get the extension for Obamacare subsidies the party was holding out for, but it does bring relief for federal employees who lost their jobs during the shutdown and SNAP recipients. That is a silver lining for those waiting on those SNAP benefits. The Supreme Court extended an order blocking them for at least a few more days, and that means the federal government won't be using emergency funds to help distribute food stamp benefits to millions around the country. Now, some states have already started sending out SNAP payments, including Washington State. Governor Bob Ferguson said yesterday that nearly $115 million has been delivered, with $48.5 million to go within the next week. Now, the shutdown is really affecting workers at SeaTac Airport. Remember, TSA workers and air traffic controllers are not getting paid right now during the shutdown. And now those donations are pouring in as they continue to miss those paychecks. King 5's Madeline Carter joins us live tonight. It sounds like the airport has found a way to help those workers out.
Well, that's right, Greg. These federal employees, they've been working so hard to help all of us get to our destinations, and yet they've been doing that for weeks without pay. That's why SeaTac Airport has started a food pantry to help them, even as this government shutdown continues to disrupt travel. Another night, another round of flight cancellations. Between 4 and 6% did not take off from SeaTac Airport Tuesday. Day 42 of the government shutdown. Yet federal workers continued waving Seattle travelers through. In each of these blue uniforms is a person. But what you can't see is the paycheck that's missing.
Put yourself in their shoes. What would it be like if you were to show up for your job and do this for 7 weeks, but not getting that paycheck that you usually do every 2 weeks? How are you going to make your way through that?
A federal worker food pantry. That's how. And you can find it at the airport.
What is it that you need? What are the things that we can help provide or help coordinate and organize?
Spokesperson Perry Cooper says over the past couple weeks, non-perishable food, toiletries, and baby supplies have been pouring into the SEA Conference Center.
We've easily seen over 10,000 in food and donations here at this point.
And that's on top of hot meals and airport restaurant discounts. All of it provided to air traffic controllers, Customs and Border Protection officers, and TSA agents. This bin was empty Tuesday. The items inside on the way to the hands of those who need it more than ever. With the holidays right around the corner and no income since October 1st.
That's a small piece for us to do to try and help them out.
You at home can donate to help these federal workers provide for their families. The SEA Conference Center is open weekdays from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. for those drop-offs. And the airport says they will keep the food pantry open until the government shutdown ends or until those paychecks start coming again. Live at SeaTac Airport, Madeline Carter, King 5 News.
So Madeline mentioned the percentage of flights being canceled. That amounts to more than 50 flights at SeaTac today, nearly 50 more tomorrow. By Friday, that will be closer to 90 flights when 10% of the flights are expected to be canceled. Join us tomorrow night on King 5 Plus for a look at the impact of the government shutdown in Washington. We'll talk about how it's affected air travelers, federal workers, and those who rely on SNAP benefits. We'll also have the latest from Congress. You can watch our live special tomorrow at 8 p.m. on King 5 Plus. Download King 5 Plus to your TV, and you can watch it for free. Now to the extremely close race for Seattle mayor. New results show progressive candidate Katie Wilson has extended her lead over Mayor Bruce Harrell. Right now, she's winning by more than 1,300 votes. Yesterday, she took the lead for the first time by just 91 votes. King County says there are about 1,500 ballots with signature challenges left to count still. A King 5 election expert says Harrell would need to win about 80% of those votes, which is not the direction the vote has been going. Voters with challenged signatures will be notified by phone, email, or through the ballot alert system. To see all of the election results for more than 600 races in Western Washington, you can text the word results to 206-448-4545, and we will send you a link. Well, a suspect is in custody in connection to the death of a missing man in Everett. 71-year-old Daniel Litton disappeared last Wednesday. His body was found wrapped in a blanket and duct tape in an alley between Grand and Rucker. That suspect is facing a murder charge and being held in the Snohomish County Jail tonight.
It's all hands on deck. It is, we see our mission in action tenfold.
The Tacoma Humane Society is caring for nearly 70 cats right now. Police found them in a U-Haul at Motel 6 on Friday. The owner is now facing 11 animal cruelty charges. Court documents say 10 cats were found dead inside that U-Haul. The other cats are still undergoing medical evaluations. The Humane Society says it doesn't know when they'll be ready for adoption. Seattle police are looking for the person who broke in and set fire to a Thai restaurant in Belltown. Surveillance video shows firefighters knocking down flames in the entryway and part of the dining area. The owner of the Bangrak Market says his alarm company notified him that the restaurant was on fire 10 days ago. Today, Seattle Fire confirmed it was arson. The owner hopes a post on social media will help find out who did it.
If you see something, say something, something might happen, you might, somebody might come across it and know who did it. That's what's my hope.
The restaurant is still open. Its owner is asking customers to continue supporting them as he makes repairs. Well, some in Olympia are outraged after federal immigration agents pulled over a man and arrested him at an intersection last week. A bystander caught the incident on video. Olympia police confirm it was an ICE arrest. The department says it was not involved and did not give federal authorities access to the city's Flock safety camera system. DFlock Olympia, a group fighting the Flock system, is skeptical because the Flock system is shared with agencies across the country that are not in sanctuary cities.
There's no way that they can safely put those up there and not expect any other agencies to get into them.
The Olympia Police Department says it will brief the public on how the city uses the Flock cameras in a city council study session next month. DFlock Olympia plans to organize a rally outside of that meeting. When his country asked for help, Howard Holding answered the call. During World War II, so many families gave so much. On this Veterans Day, the story of one family who finally got something back.
Okay, so this is service aboard the Enterprise, which I think is a special one because the Enterprise was such a great carrier in World War II and accomplished so much in the Pacific Theater. But of course, the most poignant of them all would be the Purple Heart. You don't get the Purple Heart unless you're killed in action or wounded in action.
Terry Trick never knew her Uncle Howard.
There's tons and tons of pictures in here of Howard growing up and Howard when he was a kid and even when he was a baby.
But she knows a lot about him.
This is Howard Holding, and his mother, Ida Holding. My brother at 1.5 years. But these are my favorites because they are pictures of him and his family the last time he was home. And he was just about ready to ship out. So it was his last leave before he got on the Enterprise.
That was Thanksgiving, 1943.
He got killed. And he's our family's great tragedy.
According to the National World War II Museum, more than 418,000 Americans were killed during World War II. Nearly 72,000, 17%, are still unaccounted for. Terry's uncle was among them until just recently, when science finally provided some answers. Howard Holding was born in 1922 in Salt Lake City. At the age of 20, he enlisted in the Naval Reserves. After his commission and flight school the following year, he was assigned to Fighter Squadron 20.
There's the squadron. There's the squadron right there. Well, his squadron was called the Jokers.
Fitting for him.
Yeah, their symbol, of course, was the Joker on a deck of cards. I understand he had a great sense of humor and liked to play jokes on my grandmother and my mother.
Holding was stationed aboard the aircraft carrier Enterprise. He spent some time in Hawaii before shipping out.
This is him playing the saxophone in Pearl Harbor when he was stationed there.
But in the summer of 1944, Holding's stage became the Pacific Theater, where he saw plenty of action from the seat of his Hellcat fighter. His final mission came on September 6th over Yap, an island now part of Micronesia, a Japanese stronghold at the time. He was in a 3-plane formation doing recon, not expecting any resistance, and then came the anti-aircraft fire. Another pilot nearby wrote a letter to Holding's mother detailing what happened next.
As I pulled out of my dive, I looked back to see how the rest of the boys were faring. To my dismay, I noticed 2 planes crazily twisting downward vertically. Of course, each plane hit the island with a terrific force and immediately exploded.
Word was sent home via telegram. Holding was missing in action.
My Uncle Howard, Ensign Howard Holding, Ensign Joseph Cox, and Lieutenant Harry Brown. They all lost their lives that same morning.
It wasn't until after the war was over
That this crash site that I went to was Howard's, and that this is parts of Howard's plane here.
that military investigators recovered 4 sets of remains from the island. After some time in storage, the remains eventually made their way to the Philippines. All 4 were buried at the Manila American Cemetery as unknowns in 1950. And that's where they would rest for 70 years, until the military exhumed the remains for DNA testing in 2020.
And I got a call that said, are you Terry Trick?
The man on the other end was Pat Ranfrance. He'd been searching for his own uncle's plane on Yap. That's how he came across Howard's story.
Pat said, you really need to send your DNA to the Navy. And I said, why? They're never going to recover Howard. And he said, you still should send your DNA to the Navy just in case.
She did. And then Terry waited, not really expecting much as the years passed.
I know DNA lasts forever, but I was still wondering if they needed some more or what was going to happen. And it's a good thing that I had done that, because in June, they finally made the identification.
"81 years and 39 days after giving his life for his country, Holding arrived back in Salt Lake City last month. Terry and her son, also a veteran, were there to greet the plane. Howard was laid to rest at the Salt Lake City Cemetery with full military honors. Home at last.
Closure is an overworked word, but I look at it as the family is reading a story for 81 years. And we don't know how it's going to end, but we're reading this story. And then finally we get to the end of it because we find Howard and he comes home. And then we can close the book at the end of the story. So closing the book is closure. And that's the way I look at it.
There are thousands of families like Holding's still waiting for that closure. Most of them will likely never get it. The Defense Department's POW/MIA accounting agency has tracked down a total of 3,684 missing personnel since 1973. Nearly 81,000 are still unaccounted for, most of them from World War II.
So a family of 6, we would probably spend $200.
Well, the bill is climbing for Seattle families looking to skip a night out, night of cooking. Why eating out is getting pricier, and not just for the customers.
Everybody walks through our doors, old and young, family is coming together, mother, father, kid,
Keeping bellies full and spirits high, we take you inside a Yakima market, bringing its community together during hard times through food.
Well, we had a lot of northern lights tonight. We've got some widespread rain on Thursday. We'll take a look at all of it and your weekend when we come back.